may be still in the midst of managing a pandemic, but it does feel like it's waking up from a long hibernation and we're trying to adjust to a new normal, searching for new promises, potential, and ways in which we can personally transition that will bring a lot of exciting opportunities, but also unforeseen mental health challenges as well, like continuing to work and school from home. So how can our young adults propel their life forward within this environment without getting overwhelmed by mental and emotional health challenges like fears, anxieties, insecurities, uncertainties, and coping, obstacles that'll keep appearing on their path until they learn how to effectively manage them? Now, I've traveled this emotional roller coaster ride many times before in my challenging youth into adulthood, having a severely limited life backpack of mental and emotional skills as I went off into the world, until I filled it up with a healthy emotional toolkit. I spent over 30 years accumulating knowledge, understanding, wisdoms, personal transformation, and from my experiences climbing up the corporate ladder to become a Canadian senior executive of a global corporation, a Canadian skating champion, successful entrepreneur, a mother of two amazing kids, executive and young adult life coach, to realize that it's become a required necessity to develop and maintain a solid set of mind and emotional skills to healthily and effectively navigate challenging experiences and change. And unless our young adults revise their youthful coping skills with essential and updated ones to apply in their adult life, just like they do their phones and data speeds, there's the high likelihood that they'll keep on the same hamster wheel, responding to and managing life's challenging adversities in the same way again and again, the way they did as a child, expecting different results when it just won't happen. It was partly because of this and the emotional struggles I've witnessed in these young people, their lack of skills and limited self-beliefs, fears, uncertainties that these guys have for their futures, believing that it's totally out of their control, that pulled me and inspired me to create the A to Z and 1, 2, 3s of Life Foundations, an online course which updates their mental and emotional health and well-being, which is suited for those between 17 and 27. I want to help them take back control of their mental and emotional health, have life direction, and let them feel certain, empowered, and confident. These young men and women self-sabotage their best efforts because they honestly believe that things won't work out for them, or that they've no other options in their backpack to pick from. I help them make sense of their mind, emotions, and beliefs, and mentor them in overcoming what I call their mind saboteurs. And our mind saboteur number one is that all of us always run to the familiar. We run away from what is unfamiliar and run towards what is familiar. But what does this mean? Well, hundreds of years ago, what made us feel safe and able to stay on this planet and survive it was to stay around that which was familiar to us. We ate the same foods, kept in the same environment with the same tribe. And this still holds true today. When we were kids, we wanted the same stories, the same teddy, the same food. And this is because our primitive mind feels safe with sameness. We continue to want to do this well into our adult life. Ever keep in touch with your junior or high school friends? Or like the same foods you ate as a kid? If you were used to a destructive and heartbreaking environment as a child, 25 years later, you go back to what is familiar. And nothing can have such an impact to prove this than this study where 70% of lotto winners go bankrupt within 3 years if they've not had a familiar relationship to money. So, how do I help my young clients get around this self-sabotaging mindset? I teach them that they can make anything familiar for their mind from the unfamiliar by repeatedly saying to themselves things like, I'm making success familiar. I'm making gratitude, happiness, and self-love familiar. Never adding, if it kills me, and removing criticisms and being down on themselves. It's about developing their mind that's used to something unfamiliar like praise and creating a daily habit of repeating, I am making praise familiar. So it does become familiar for their mind, which their mind loves. Now, they do this one thing and it can change up their lives so much for the better. Now, mind saboteur number 2 is the fear of rejection. Thousands of years ago, if we lived in a tribe and they rejected us, we would literally die. If they banished or marooned us, it would be a life worse than death. And we've learned to live on this planet with a fear of rejection. Not long ago, we could die from rejection, but today we can live on our own and live to be over 100. But the feeling still remains that rejection kills us. Songs like, I'll die without you. My life is over without you. You're the only one for me and I can't go on. Now, we all know that this isn't true because many get dumped, move on, and find someone else. Rejection doesn't need to be feared. Many fear about speaking in groups or getting rejected when they ask someone out on a date. So what in a grand scheme of life? Let's look at how many times you've already got rejected. The kids who rejected you at school. The interview you went for and you didn't get. The person who dumped you, and guess what? You're still here. And know this, rejection can be the best thing that ever happened to anyone if they can learn the skills to bounce back. I help them in how to make their mind their best friend, their cheerleader, working for them, and their genie in a bottle, so that whatever experiences hit them, they can mentally and emotionally manage them with ease. I've recently had parents come out to me and say, Anne, how can you support them when, they're out there, or our kids are busy at university and work, they've no time for these personal development tools that you're trying to teach. I promise you that I'll answer those and others in my next video, where I'll also be sharing some really cool techniques that I provide to my clients about how to manage anxiety and sleep deficiencies. Now, I'd love to hear your questions, concerns, and comments, and I'll see you soon on the next video.